Yo, what is going on, guys? So we got a clip here today of a woman who is quite upset because she is oppressed. So let's see what she has to say.
It's not all men. You know that it goes both ways, right? It happens to men too. Yes, it does. But do you know what the difference is? With you, it is individual. With us, it is systematic. It happens in family, it happens multiple times in public, it happens openly in school, with doctors, with teachers, with authority figures, it happens even on live TV. And no, by saying this, I'm in no way, shape, or form belittling male victims. But do you know what I found interesting? That the only time when you speak about male suffering is when you defend yourself when we speak up. If you truly care about male victims and male suffering, then make videos about it. I am so sorry that I talk about this systematic oppression of women. Because what I'm talking about is not happening since days, since months, or since years. It happened since the beginning of time.
It never ceases to amaze me how girls in the 21st century sit here complaining on camera, right, about how oppressed they are, as if they're not the most privileged group of people to walk the earth. Okay, I mean, these girls have every opportunity available to them, plus more. Okay, if I were to take this woman and I were to put her on, Twitch, the streaming website, or anything like that, I mean, what do you think's going to happen? She's going to get money handed to her. She's going to be validated, get told she's beautiful all day. People are going to care about her issues, right? And then these same women want to turn around and say that they're oppressed. Oh, the wage gap, right? As if the wage gap actually exists. Okay, it's absolute BS, man. But what is going on, guys? It is Taylor the Fiend back again with another response video. And on today's show, guys, we're going to be going through a bunch of stories if we have time, as well as a bunch of videos. But gentlemen, if you're new here, you're liking the videos, make sure you subscribe on your way in. Come and join the Discord and the locals, links in the description if you haven't already. And guys, if you would like to support the channel, Locals also has an option for that. But we're just going to jump right in here and, go through this woman's points one at a time. So make sure you leave your thoughts and opinions to what she has said as we go through it.
It's not all men. You know that it goes both ways, right? It happens to men too. Yes, it does. But do you know what the difference is?
Yeah, the difference is nobody gives a crap when stuff happens to men. I mean, gentlemen, right? If you've had something terrible happen in your life, you've gone through some hard stuff, you want to go out there and you want to talk to people about it, you're going to find out very quickly that nobody gives a crap. Maybe your close friends might listen here and there and that sort of thing, but for the most part, nobody really cares. Right? Nobody cares about the suffering of men. You want to go through a terrible relation, guys. You want to go through a terrible relationship, and I'm sure if you're a man who's been out there dating, you know this, okay? Let's just say you have a relationship end and it doesn't end on fantastic terms, right? Chances are you're not going to have many people around you to support you when it ends. Girls, on the other hand, will have everybody and their their damn dog ready to support her as the relationship ends. That is the difference. Nobody cares when this stuff happens to men. Nobody cares when men go through difficult situations, and then girls want to sit here and say that they have it rough. Like, man, if it would be very interesting to see women try and cope as men for a week. Like, it would be very interesting. Let's continue.
With you, it is individual. With us, it is systematic.
Yeah, guys, women are systematically oppressed, okay? Obviously, they get paid less. Right, I can't believe we're still having this discussion. Women are not systematically oppressed. Okay, women oftentimes are actually encouraged to, for example, join more well-paying fields because no women even want to go there. Right? You want to talk about engineering classes, engineering courses? There are more scholarships and stuff like that for women because women do not select those things. Right? And you want to talk about systematic oppression for a second? Okay, let's talk about that. How are men portrayed in media today? Guys, you tell me. I mean, you look at any villain, right? Pretty much any villain in modern contemporary media, it's always some old dude, is what it is. Right? It's always some old dude with masculine traits, and he's rogue, he's dark, right? Um, and you'll notice the protagonists of these films always weak, anxiety ridden, right? All this kind of stuff. Any sort of masculinity is demonized. If it's not demonized, it's made to look stupid. Okay, you want to look at people, for instance, like Homer Simpson. right? Absolutely clueless. Family Guy. Okay, I mean, like every single father, masculine leader seems to be just absolutely ruined. Right? And you want to sit here and you want to talk about systematic oppression, how people are systematically made to look one way or another. It's just BS, man. Let's continue.
It happens in family, it happens multiple times in public, it happens openly in school, with doctors, with teachers, with authority figures, it happens even on live TV. And no, by saying this, I'm in no way, shape, or form belittling male victims. But do you know what I found interesting?
When people say a sentence, right, and then they immediately follow it up with the word but, it's almost as if they just completely erase the previous sentence. Okay? I'm not belittling men who have gone through bad situations, but like why do you even put a but in there? Okay? Like
That the only time when you speak about male suffering is when you defend yourself when we speak up.
the reason why men, bring that up and say, "Oh, well, men too," and and defend themselves is because you are oftentimes attacking men in the same breath. Okay, the very funny part about these videos, and guys, like, I'm just going to switch screens here momentarily, okay? We talk on this show about how relationships work, and, I try my best to kind of paint a picture for you guys as we go through stories, okay? And one of those pictures that we have, right, is girls will go out here, and as we all know, they'll date men who are not interested in committing to them, who, have no interest in actually talking to these girls or being in a relationship. And girls will go out there and they will actively select those kind of men. Okay, and what they'll do is, and then they'll all get together and go, "Oh wow, Stacy, you have poor experiences with men. No way, I couldn't get my guy to commit either. He was such a child. He wasn't interested in me. He didn't want to commit to me." And then Stacy goes, "Oh, me too. My boyfriend or situationship, he didn't want to commit to me either." And then the girls will get in a giant circle and they'll go, "Oh well, it's the men. It's the men's fault." And what they fail to realize is that they are selecting men who treat them poorly, and then they want to go out with these bad ideas of men and say that it's all men, and then complain about when men defend themselves. And you might be thinking to yourself, "Oh, well, what's the difference, Taylor? Like, you want to sit on here and you want to talk about women." The difference is men are not the selectors of the species, guys. We are not out there choosing, actively choosing for women who treat us terribly. Guys, I don't speak for all men here, but I'd venture to guess, right, that men, you as a guy, you'd like someone peaceful who brings, femininity. She's very pretty. She's not argumentative. Maybe that's something that you're more interested in as a man. But these girls will actively select the dudes who are toxic, right? And whatever the hell that means nowadays, okay? And then they want to complain about, all men and how they were treated poorly, and then are shocked when men defend themselves. Like, goodness me, pick a stance.
If you truly care about male victims and male suffering, then make videos about it. I am so sorry that I talk about the systematic oppression of women.
Yeah, right. That wage gap. It's a hell of a thing. Apparently, this girls can't rise up the corporate ladder. Right. I've always found this super funny. Okay, excuse me. Girls will sit here and say, "Oh well, how come there are no women CEOs? Right? How come there are no women in positions of power?" Right? In order to get to a position of power, guys, you have to be headstrong, right? You have to really want it, really grind for it. Most of these girls, man, they don't want to grind for 60 years of their life to reach the top of the food chain. They're not interested in doing that. Men will do that. We get obsessed with things, right? You as a guy, like maybe you're into cars or something like that. Maybe you're into music, right? Men will literally get addicted to a task. You know what I mean? Like we will really laser focus on it. You'll notice that girls are not interested in being CEOs, man. Like there's nothing stopping women from being CEOs as much as there are men. And yet you'll get all these girls out here saying, "Oh, we're being systematically oppressed." Okay, go out there and do it yourself then. Go out, become a CEO, create a business. And yet you get all the you get all these girls on Instagram, and what they'll do. Before we continue with the video here, it's so funny. I have to share this. These girls will complain about, "Oh, how come there are no women CEOs?" Right? And then these are the same girls that will create an Instagram account for their little, you know, earring business or something like that that's not going to go anywhere because they don't understand how business works and what people actually want, and then they want to complain that society is oppressing them, right? It's like, my business doesn't work because society is oppressing me as a woman. Jesus.
Because what I'm talking about is not happening since days, since months, or since years. It happened since the beginning of time.
Yeah, you know what has happened since the beginning of time, guys? Women have been provisioned for and protected and given resources. Okay? Like, and the funny part about this, this isn't funny at all, excuse me, what I'm about to say is, men will go out here, we'll fight wars, we'll take over lands, we'll expand, we'll become powerful, right? Men will do everything in their power to, to go out there and make what they can of themselves in the world, okay? And these girls will turn around and say, oh, well, you as men, you didn't have to do that. Okay, you didn't have to go out there and conquer. You didn't have to do all of this stuff. And what they fail to realize is that the weird part about it is, if you're a man and you're not out there conquering, you're not out there dominating, doing your thing, you think that women are going to be interested in you? I believe there was a thing a while ago, and I don't know how too in depth I can go into this because, YouTube, but there was a certain time where women would hand out white feathers, I believe, if you would refuse to go out and fight, right? They would actively shame you. Okay, let me give you guys a quick example, right? Let's just roll back the time, and you've got a baron of some lands and a farm guy, right? She's going to choose the guy who has all the lands, who is out there conquering, as opposed to the dude managing his little farm. All right, girls like men who are powerful, who conquer all this sort of stuff, right? And then they want to turn around and go, oh, well, why are men out there, fighting wars and conquering lands and doing all this? They're doing it for you, right? They're getting provisioning for you. They're getting resources for you. They're getting protection for you. Are you going to go out there and do it? Absolutely not. All right, but gentlemen, we're going to continue momentarily here to the next video that I have pulled up. Make sure you leave your comments and your thoughts as we continue through.
Sleep.
Oh, and this is a fantastic video, okay? And this one here, as I pull it up, guys, is about how dating absolutely sucks, because it's obviously difficult for the ladies out here to find a man who will commit to them. All these toxic and terrible dudes out here, but the ladies are having it difficult apparently. But hey, just a quick pause, gentlemen. Make sure you leave your comments and your thoughts. And I just want to bring up as well, make sure you come and join the Discord and the locals link in the description, guys. And let's crack into this one and see what she has to say.
Honestly, I don't think there's really anything worse than being broken up with by a guy you were never officially with.
Gentlemen, just hold... just hold in the laughter, okay? Just hold it in.
And he just kind of started drifting away from you, started making less effort. The communication started to become less and less.
Guys, I can't, all right? The hashtag on this, guys, just for reference. So she opens this up, okay, by saying that, it's difficult to break up with someone who you were never really with. First of all, that's not a breakup. Second of all, you guys can't see it, but off the screen, I'm looking at the hashtags because I want to know what hashtags this came under. And she's written as one of the hashtags, where's my husband? Oh my God, you can't make this up, okay? And the reason why I'm laughing, gentlemen, is because these women can go out and choose a guy who would be there stable for them and who would have a relationship with them and who would be their husband. But that's not what they want, right? Because if they wanted that, they could have it. Like, nobody's stopping them from having a caring husband and a nice, peaceful life and stability and stuff like that. But the problem is that's not actually what they're doing. Right? And that's why it's so funny, right? Because she's taking herself so seriously here, as if her entire situation is not her own fault. Like, at a certain point, guys, like, it just becomes a little bit comedic,
And when you bring it up and you want to have a conversation about it and be an adult, like, hey, can we talk about this? If your feelings have changed towards me, yada, yada. Instead of just being blunt with you, they respond with, oh, sorry, I've just gotten really busy, but yeah, we can hang out soon. Yeah, I want to see you. Yeah, I miss you.
Yeah, basically, so you get dismissed, right? Like, right. It's really something to watch these girls. What they'll do is they'll try and chase a guy and they'll try and get him into a relationship, right? And meanwhile, while they're trying to get him into a relationship, they're stressing, right? They're always like, "Oh, I wonder if he likes me. I wonder if he cares about me. He said this the other day, but I don't know if he meant it, and he didn't say he loved me back, so I don't know how to feel about him." And all these kind of anxieties and concerns, what they're doing is they're compounding on one another, and that is what constitutes love for women, guys, right? Anxiety, not knowing what's going on, uncertainty, all this stuff. So, they can sit here, they can make the videos about how, oh, we want a man who's real stable. And again, just to emphasize, one of the hashtags that this woman has used on this video is "Where's my husband?" Right? Guys, they can do it. Right? It's not that difficult. And yet they're going out here purposely into situations that cause them anxiety and stress and not knowing if a guy's actually interested in them. And then they want to turn around to people like you and me, right, who might stumble across this video, and we're supposed to have sympathy. We're supposed to have empathy for the situation. And I don't say that to be mean to the lady in the video. I don't say that to be rude to her at all. All I'm saying is that why would we have sympathy? Why would we have empathy for this situation when it is completely your doing? Like, there's no other way to put it, gentlemen. She could actively choose to not be in this situation, and yet she is here.
And the fucked up part is somebody who's empathetic like I am, I understand. I'm like, oh, okay, you're busy. Like, I'm understanding. But that fucking shit is toxic, bro, and I'm fucking sick of it. And I'm just so over being nice.
And the really insidious part of that video, right? Before we move on, okay, and where I heavily disagree, right, is at the end where she wants to frame it as though she's in this situation because she's empathetic, right? She's in this situation because she's a nice person, and that's why girls will always try and paint it as though the reason why they continue to allow themselves to be treated poorly in relationships or lack thereof is because they're such nice and empathetic people, and that's why they're there. Guys, a lot of the times these girls are not necessarily nice and empathetic people, right? It's just a convenient way to paint themselves as people who smell of roses. This is something I brought up on the channel a while ago, gentlemen, but you will notice if you're in a relationship with a girl and it ends, oftentimes you're going to be the one with the short end of the stick. You're going to come out of the relationship, and so, sometimes she'll just straight up try and sabotage your reputation. Like, you as a guy, you might find you come out of a relationship and all of a sudden all your friends are against you for some reason, right? Everyone thinks that she's an angel and she's kind and all this kind of stuff. She left the relationship because she didn't get what she needed, right? Oh, you brave and powerful woman. It just makes absolutely no sense to me. There are so many different angles to that, and it's honestly just painful to kind of go through, guys, because explaining this stuff, you quickly come to realize, wow, maybe people aren't how I thought that they were. Maybe they don't work how I thought that they were. Now, gentlemen, we're going to crack into a couple of stories here, so I'm going to see what I've got momentarily for us to go through here. But before we do, guys, make sure you leave your thoughts and comments to those particular videos. Now, let's just crack right into this one. Okay, so let's have a look at this. And this one is titled, goodness me, I told a man that he needed therapy last night. And this is under the flair of a story time. So let's see what they have to say. I went on a second date last night. There were no red flags on the first date, and we actually had a good time most of the date too. Until, unprompted, he mentioned that he likes to take things emotionally slow because he went through a tough relationship 3 years ago. Let me tell you how his jaw dropped when I said, and you didn't seek therapy or do something to work on that? Instead, you were here on a second date telling me about all the ways you'll compare me to an ex who didn't treat you well. You shouldn't be dating at all. This is the kind of language from a girl who has dated emotionally unavailable men her entire life, right? Because that's all these girls will do, right? They'll get to 30, 40, and 50, and they'll start to think, they'll scratch their chin and they'll think to themselves, hey, wait a minute, I've been dealing with men who are emotionally unavailable this entire time, and I couldn't get a relationship. Wowee. Right? And then so when a guy like after she's been through it for the 150th time, um, and he says, "Oh, I like to take things emotionally slow," then she has an issue with it. Right? All these young girls who get themselves into situationships with Chad, right? The reason why they're in the relationships, the reason why these girls are out here in situationships, relationships, whatever you want to call them, the reason why they're in the relationship to begin with is because he's emotionally unavailable. You want to be? Let me tell you this, gentlemen. You want to be a man who's emotionally available? Let me know how that works out for you. Okay, and I don't say that to be mean to dudes out here. Maybe you're going through anxiety and that sort of stuff. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not making fun of you for that if you're going through a rough time, guys. All I'm trying to say here is if you want to put emotions at the forefront of a relationship with a girl, expect it to go poorly. These girls will sit here and they'll tell you to your face, right? They will tell you to your face, "Oh, I like a man who's emotionally vulnerable, emotionally open with me. I just appreciate a guy who, is in touch with his emotions." All this kind of BS, man. Okay, and they respond to the complete opposite. So please do not buy it. Okay, you're going to put yourself through so many headaches going into relationships with the idea that you should be emotionally available to people, guys. And I'm not saying, and just to preface that as well, I'm not saying that you should bottle up your emotions at all or anything like that. If you've got access to a therapist, gentlemen, I'd recommend it. To be honest, just make sure that you're seeing someone who you respect, which usually comes in the form of an older gentleman. Okay, don't be seeing these 20-something-year-old ladies who are fresh out of the the indoctrination places, shall we say? Let's continue. Excuse me. I cut the date short. He tried to walk me to my car, but I insisted on going myself, and then he texted me asking me to verify it when I made it home before I blocked him. Right? Imagine going on a date with a person like this, man. That is so unbelievably rude. And I just want to say this before we wrap up and go into the last story of today, guys, is like, if you have a date with a girl, do not, I repeat, do not text her the moment the date ends going, "I had a great time. When can I see you next?" That is one of the worst mistakes that you could possibly make, gentlemen. If you're a man who's choosing to date, I would honestly, guys, don't even text her back on that day. Like, seriously, just don't do it, man. Like, they'll say one thing, but how they'll actually perceive you is they'll perceive you as somebody who's needy. Right? Asking the question, "When can I see you again?" That question is straight up repulsive to girls, man. It's straight up repulsive, I'm telling you. But gentlemen, I'm going to momentarily pull up a different story for us to go through as we continue with today's episode. And I've got a bunch of cringe pictures up, man. But I'm trying to ease us into it. To hell with it. I'm just going to pull it up. Let's have a look at this one. This is a tweet from a woman whose name we don't know. It says, "I'm too young to be faithful. If I see a guy that looks better than mine on me, I'm cheating." Guys, if anyone tries to tell you, okay, that looks don't matter, they're lying. They're either lying to you or they're clueless. Right? It's one of the two. Okay, looks absolutely do matter to women, gentlemen. You can be a man who's overweight and not hitting the gym and stuff, and that's your decision to make if you'd like. But guys, like, to say that girls don't care about the appearance is straight up lie. You see, what they'll do is they'll say, "Oh, like, I just want a man who's emotionally available. I just want a good guy with integrity," right? And what they'll list all of these things like, "Oh yeah, his personality has to be sweet and it has to be like roses, man. He has to be so pleasant to be around and all this kind of stuff." No, girls can be just, if not girls, and I will say this: I think that girls are more superficial than dudes. I really do. Insofar as physical attraction and stuff like that. Girls are that way too, man. The media wants to portray guys and society wants to portray guys as, we're just these people who are only interested in girls for their looks. Girls are out here only looking at looks a lot of the time as well, right? And let's have a look at this down here. It also says, "Don't let your boy," this is all capitals, by the way, if you're not watching. If you're not watching the screen, you're just kind of listening. This says, "Don't let your boyfriend stop you from finding your husband." And just to reiterate, this has 717 shares on it, right? I believe that shares is retweets. I really dislike Twitter, man. I don't touch the stuff. 717 retweets, 874 quote tweets, and 4,541 likes, man. Absolute ridiculousness. Okay, I hope that they're sharing just because it's ridiculous, but you can never be so sure these days. Now let's see what else we've got here, guys. As always, like I try and pick up a bunch of stories that you've sent me, or the ones that I kind of find that might be interesting. So I like to have a flick through as we go through the episode through the episode here. Now let's see what we've got here. Let's have a look at this one. This is titled, "The default should be leaving or independence, not forcing staying," and it has the flair "mood for life." I had an epiphany the other day that as I've gotten older and have been married twice and learned so much along the way, that my default has become leaving, rather than forcing a connection that is either weak or just not there. And that, Queens, should be the default. Can you imagine? I don't know what that acronym is, would nearly cease to exist along with advice columns. I've noticed how so many ask basically the same thing. How can I make someone blank? With just a modicum of introspection and casting one's mind back over the non-relationship, you can clearly see a pattern. If they wanted to, they would. If they cared, they would. I don't know how to read this, man. If there were care. Right. Attention, concern, real interest. Oh, if there were care. I'm with you now. Okay, I'm with you. If there were care, attention, concern, real interest, they'd make an effort to stay in touch and be a part of your life. Let's normalize leaving and continuing to be independent, which is the default state anyway, until it's accepted as just how things are and coupling up is something different. Not to say that trying out or dating isn't normal, it's quite normal, and you don't know who you'll click with until you chat and or meet. Right, yeah, so let's, strong and independent ladies, hell yeah. Okay, it's always funny to see girls will see, they'll sit there and they'll give advice to each other on how, girl, you should be independent, you should do whatever you want. And those same girls are crying at 2 a.m. on a weekday, okay, because they couldn't get the guy to like them. That's what it is. That's what it really is. Now, gentlemen, we're going to pull up a final article here before we wrap up today's show, and this is an absolute banger. So this one is she's a single mother of 3, and it looks like she's 34. So let's have a read of her bio here. I'm a mother of 3. I'm 5'10". Oh, excuse me, she's not 5'10". She wants a man who is 5'10" and up, please. Don't ask me if I have a job. I stay home with my kids. Don't ask for the spicy stuff. I won't send you any. I don't have the bedroom fun unless I'm in a relationship. I have diabetes, A and D. I live with my ex-husband, but we're separated for good. I am currently carrying a child from the last guy I dated, but he's not a nice man and will never be a part of my life again. I've lost most of my hair due to kids and diabetes, so I wear wigs. Thumbs up. Here's my Snapchat. What, man? Yeah, like you've got to ask yourself, what the hell is this? Okay, so she's living with her husband, right? Her ex-husband, excuse me, but it sounds like they're still by law, he's still the husband, I think. I don't know, but she's living with her ex-husband, okay? But she's got a child from another man who's her ex, and he's no longer in the picture. She doesn't work, and she's bald. And she wants you to be at least 5'10", essentially 6 foot. Someone please make that make sense to me. Oh my goodness, man. It's so funny, right? These girls will come out here and they'll have delusion levels through the roof, right? Because Chad paid them attention for 20 minutes. Right? Because what these girls will do is they'll say, okay, well, I'm worth this much. Right, I'm worth Chad because he paid attention to me for 20 minutes on a Wednesday night. Right, and that's just not how it works, right? And then they think from then on, okay, I'm entitled to a guy who's 6 foot and over, even though I have 3 children with one on the way. I am living with my ex-husband, and they expect you to come along and pick up the pieces. That's crazy, man. That's absolutely crazy. But gentlemen, we're going to leave today's video there. As always, leave your thoughts and comments below. Make sure you come and join the Discord and the Locals links in the description, guys. And if you're interested in supporting the channel, guys, Locals is a fantastic way to do that. But we're going to call it there. As always, gentlemen, make sure you take care of yourselves, and I will see you boys in the next video. Peace.